Hello, good day, and welcome to another online biology class. I hope you are doing well. I hope your families are doing well. Okay, um, let's dive into what we have today, which is complexity of living organisms. In our previous lesson, we tried to look at the kingdom Animalia, the vertebrates and invertebrates, phylums and subphylums. So today we're looking at the complex part of these living organisms. The human body, it's so complex that sometimes we try to decipher some things and it seems incomprehensive. Um, so today when we talk about the complexity of living things, we are trying to study those little structures that make up the organism, the complete organism. When you talk about an organism, it could be a plant or an animal, a dog, a man, all these are organisms. But when you talk about microorganisms, they are also organisms, but they are small now, so you need a microscope. But when we're talking about the complexity of living organisms, we're trying to look at living organisms from the basic and see what it is, what constitutes this living organism, what it comprises of, and how makes it into a complex being. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be looking at today. I hope you can see the slide. Without wasting further time, let's dive in. You can see what we have on the specific objectives we have. By the end of this lesson, of course, students should be able to know the meaning of complexity of organisms, meaning of how the basic structure starting from the cell and how we give rise to the tissue, the organ system, the organism. And we're going to also look at the advantages of being complex. What are the advantages that human beings, animals, plants get to enjoy because they are a complex organism, because they're made up of so many little structures. And what are the disadvantages they also do not get to enjoy? Yes, because once there's an advantage, of course there is, and they ought to be a disadvantage. So let's dive in. Okay, so after having gone through the specific objective of this topic, without wasting further time, let's dive in. The topic levels of organization in organism, which sometimes referred to as level of complexity, talks about how living organisms are arranged from the least to the to the most advanced, the complex ones. Now I would love to give an analogy. If you look at, you've heard of this business method we call the sole proprietorship, and the other one we call, which is also known as the sole proprietorship or the one-man business, and the other one we call either enterprise, public limited or private limited company. And you see that the sole proprietorship has just one man, right, running everything, the marketing, this creating ideas, strategizing, making sales, everything is on one person's neck. That is how it is when you look at the cell. Just one cell, one living organism that can carry out all functions. Meaning that, I told you earlier that the cell is the smallest structural unit of a living thing that can exist alone. Meaning that it is the smallest part of that living organism that doesn't depend on others, because a cell can carry out every function of a living thing. And what are the functions of living thing? Reproduction, nutrition, digestion, respiration, movement, everything. We usually use the acronym Mr. Niger D to summarize. So if you look at the one-man business, the one man does everything. But if you look at the public or private enterprise, we have so many departments in one firm, right? So everybody is working, but they're all interconnected. Meaning, what our sales department is doing, they need to carry human resources, or they need to carry this other department along. So that's how it is. Whatever the cell, every cell in the body is doing, it's connected to what other cells. So if the cell that, or the part of the body involved in reproduction, respiration, for example the lungs will bring in the nose through the nostrils,
we breathe in air, and when it goes into the lungs, this same air will circulate to every part of the body. So it therefore means that it's the lungs that does the work of bringing in oxygen, but this oxygen is for every part of the body. The brain will take the parts, just like we know that the brain takes major part of the oxygen brought into the body. It's said that it's about 20 something percent, 20 to 21% of oxygen taken in by the lungs goes to major part of it goes to the brain. And that's why if there's any issue or any shortage of oxygen, the brain first shuts down. You get? So back to what I'm saying, I'm trying to tell you that the human body is arranged in just like the way we see it in a business or an organization. You get? So if you look at your slide, you would notice a picture of just one cell, so many cells, an organ, that's the stomach, and then not just one organ, different organs coming together. You have the liver, the stomach, the intestine, the large and small, and then you see the last picture. That's an organism. An organism meaning a human organism, a human being that has all organs, cells, tissue, everything. You understand? So let's go further. Now, if you'd let me throw more light on when we talk about a cell or unicellular organism. Now look at the next slide. The next slide shows you the cell of a unicellular organism. A unicellular organism could be a bacteria, a unicellular protista like an amoeba or anything. And when you say unicellular organism, you would notice that a unicellular organism has only one cell, just like I said, and that one cell does all the functions of the living thing. The other picture shows you a man. A man is a multicellular organism, meaning he has many cells, cells performing all these functions. Now it simply tells you that the man has more. It simply tells that multicellular organisms have a complex body, because I'm not just saying only not just the human body, we are seeing so many cells, tissues, organs, system coming together. Now we move ahead. If you look at the next picture you see the picture of the respiratory system, showing you through the nostrils down to the lungs, and then you see another picture, the picture of the blood, the picture of the circulatory system, showing you different veins, arteries, and then showing you the heart, the aorta, and the ventricles and auricles, showing you how they bring in this blood. And then you have another picture showing you the digestive system, the organs involved in digestion. Now it simply tells you that all these are little cells that make them up, but they are performing the same function. Now let's go to the next slide. You will notice that it boils down to the complexity of living organisms. Now you notice that the complexity, living things become more complex when they have so many things. You will not compare living things to unicellular that have only one cell. Now the next slide says, thus, the complex body of multicellular organism is considered into different levels of organization, meaning that you have different levels, and they actually we have 5 of them. That's what we always see in most textbooks, but it's not actually 5. It has been advanced into 6. We don't start with the cell any longer, but we start with the organelle. That's why when you draw a plant or animal cell, you would always see structures inside the cell. Those structures inside the cell, like the vacuole, the nucleus, the mitochondria, the lysosomes and ribosomes, the smooth and rough endoplasmic reticulum, all these things inside the cell are what we refer to as the cell organelle. So those cell organelles, what we actually start the levels of organization with. Before, we usually see the cell, the tissue. Actually there are 5 before, but as we learn, we modify our learning. So it's in a case where you are given options, maybe in exam, and you might be asked, they mention the 5. You start with cell, tissue, organ, system. You get cell, tissue, organ, system, and organism. But in cases where you ask 6, you start with organelle, cell, tissue, organ, and what system. Do you get? So let's continue. If you still go further and look at the slide, you will see the picture of the cell, different cells that are related in function. That means you have cells that maybe the eye cells that come together to perform one function of what, receiving light into the what, eyes. The eye cells are what, sensory receptors for detecting light, either bright light or dim light. And whenever they pick this what stimuli, they transport it to the what, they form an image of that light on the of that object through the light on the retina, and then through the optic nerves, this image gets to the brain. The brain interprets whatever is being what, image that is being formed on the what, retina. So that's to tell you that all the eye cells are grouped together as what, tissues. So what are tissues? I repeat, tissues are sorry, I've not said that before. Tissues are a group of specialized cells that come together to perform a function. So the rod cells of the eye, the cone cells of the eye, coming together, many of them are, when you bring them together, we call them tissues. And then what is an organ? An organ is said to be, okay, let's go ahead. Let me just explain why as you look at the slide. So you have an organ, that's a structure or an image of the stomach. Then you have different organs coming together to give you the digestive system. That's why you're seeing the liver, the stomach, the intestine, although we don't have a complete because we are not seeing the alimentary canal. Then we also have the whole organism now. Do you understand? So these are the 5 levels of organization: cell, tissue, organ, and what, system. Sometimes I like to give the acronym CTOS, CTOS. That's the way you can easily remember it anytime maybe you want to, because you shouldn't mix it up. Cell should always come before what, tissue, organ, and then you get system. Cell, tissue, organ, and system. Now let's look at the first one, the cell. I said if you look at the slide, I hope you can see the slide. So it's cells. The lowest level of organization is a cell, which I've explained. I said that a cell is that part of the living organism that can always exist alone. That smallest part of the living organism, smallest structural part of the living organism that can exist alone. Without this, just like you have in a bacterial cell, one cell, but it's existing. A bacterial cell can multiply from one, and it multiplies in a binary form. That means binary has to do with 2. Do you understand? So let's go to the next point. We said the next bullet there says smallest functional units of an organism. Smallest functional unit of an organism, meaning that no matter how tiny it is, yet it can carry out the basic function of the organism. What are the functions? The organism would feed, nutrition. The organism will respire, breathing. The organism would, or the living thing would what? Excrete, remove metabolic waste from the body, like urine, sweat. If it's for we humans, if it's for microorganisms like bacteria, they need to remove waste after they've used the after they've used some of these nutrients. They need to remove waste, which is excretion. So all these functions are what the body a cell carries out. The next bullet there says cells are of different types as they perform, that they are of different types as they do what, perform different functions. What does it tell you? That we have different types of cells. That's why I told you that cells that are closely related will now form tissue, because we have a billion trillion of cells in the human body, for example. Yes, we do. So when and I already said is that the largest cell of the human body, that's the largest cell that exists, not of the human body now, that the largest cell that exists is the egg of an ostrich, because yes, the egg is a cell. Though we have microscopic cells like bacteria, you can't see, you need a microscope to see. You can't use your ordinary eye, you need a microscope. But there are cells you can see, like the egg cell, and the largest cell is said to be the cell of what, an ostrich. Okay, so let's go on. So I said the last bullet, let me repeat for emphasis. The first point, lowest level of organization. The second point, cells are the smallest functional unit of an organism. The third point, cells are of different types as they can perform different functions. So I've explained all this. Now when you see one cell, group of different coming together, that's what you have. You now see what, tissue. What does it tell you? It simply means that group of similar cells will come together to perform one function, and those group of cells will refer to them as tissue, as shown in the word slide. Okay, let's go on. Now you see we have different tissues in the body, different tissues, just like we have different cells coming together to perform a function. That's how we have different tissues coming together to perform a function. Now if you look at the first slide, it gives you a picture of a tissue. Examples of tissue, we have the blood. The blood is a liquid tissue. The bone is a tissue. But the heart is not a tissue, the heart is an organ. So we're still in the tissue level, we'll still get to the organ level. Do you understand? The liver is an organ, the kidney is an organ. So these are different levels. Sometimes you might be asked in exam, which of the following is at the organ level? There's some there's some little organisms, not micro, there's some smaller invertebrates that are also in the organ level. Example, hydra. Do you understand? But cellular level, examples of organisms in cellular level, example, amoeba, because it's a unicellular organism. Do you understand? Bacteria is an example of a cellular organism. When you talk about you're going to the tissue level now, you now talk about what example hydra. In humans, example bone, blood. These are examples of what tissue. So you might be asked which of these options, which of these you might be given options, and we will ask which of them are in the level of a tissue or are in the level of a cell. You need to be able to answer this question. These are possible WAEC questions you get. Okay, so let's dive in. So if you look, I'm talking about the word organ. That's why you have two or more tissues that are closely related to form an organ. And then if you look at the slide, what does it tell you? Say the tissue of an organ work together to perform a specific function. The tissues will come together. They are closely related, and when they are working together, whatever they are doing now, they are carrying out a function together. As they are doing that work, we call them what? An organ. An organ, group of similar tissues coming together to perform a function, is also referred to as an organ. Do you understand? For example, let's look still what we have on the slide. I told you that's an organ, and that's the stomach. What does the stomach do? The stomach helps towards secrete a lot of digestive enzymes after the food has gone in through the mouth, and it has been chewed with the teeth and mixed with the saliva to form what we call bolus. It goes down to the stomach, and the stomach, with the help of digestive enzymes being secreted, will still churn this food and bring about its partial digestion. So now let's go on. So the next slide says a group of organs that work together to carry out a specific life process forms an organ. Forms an organ system. I repeat that a group of organs that work together to carry out a specific life process forms an organ system. Let me throw more light on that. When you hear the word organ system, it just tells about different organs coming together. That's why I said group of organs. I told you the stomach is an organ, the liver is an organ, and the liver too secretes some digestive enzymes. The pancreas that is connected to the liver secretes what we call pancreatic juice that helps in digestion. So when you bring the liver, the stomach, and all other organs, they will now give you the organ system. And what's the organ system they're giving you? They're giving you the digestive system. So you have different organs coming together to form that digestive system. That's an example of an organ system. Just like in kidney now, the kidney has to do with the excretory system. The kidney is an organ, but it's not just the kidney that functions. The kidney is there, the bladder is there, the kidney tubules, the nephron, which is the smallest unit of the kidney. Just like we have the smallest unit of the brain is the neuron. The smallest unit of human organism is the cell. So when you talk about excretion, you have the kidney, the bladder, the urinary tubule, the nephron. All of them come together to form the organ system we call excretory system. Just like the previous slide showed you, when you look at the picture of the circulatory system, we showed you some pictures of the blood vessels, the vein, artery, heart, ventricles, and arterioles. You showed you all these things. So when you look at them, you know that together they form the organ system we call the circulatory system. I hope you are following. Now, that's like I said, you can see on the slide now, you have the digestive system. We also have the just like I told you that you have different organs there. Now this is a complete digestive system, because if you see now the former one, they have the picture of the esophagus, but this has the esophagus, the stomach, the intestine, and then sometimes you send a picture of the liver overlapping the stomach. Do you understand? So this is what we call an organ system. The next slide shows us a picture of the human body, showing the blood vessels, the capillaries, the veins, and then it shows you the lungs, the all of them. It shows you the picture of the lungs with the ribs, and then the what's it called, the digestive system. So all organ system work in coordination. Yes, coordination. They need to, when this one is doing this other one should be doing something that would align. Do you understand? Just like I told you initially at the beginning of the topic, I was talking about a frame or a company. Whatever, if it's a frame, not the one business now, whatever this department is in, they need to keep the other department abreast of the situation of things in the what company. If not, things will not go well. If you take for example our school, whatever we're doing, the management would have given a go ahead in line, have meeting with parents. Do you understand, before we carry out any activity. So that tells you that, let's go back to what I was saying. All organ system work in coordination, and then this coordination brings about the highest level of organization. We call the what organism. The organism, are you following? So the organism is now that living thing, that's complex multicellular what living thing. It could be a man, just like I have in the picture, a cow, a goat. It could also be a pig, a lion. All these things, they all possess the same level of organization. Do you understand? So if a question comes in and tells what is the similarity between option A, maybe option A is a man, option B the cow, option C the goat, D the lion, and let's say about to option F, A, B, C, D, and E the pig. Do you understand? And they tell you what's the similarity between the you say all of them. What's their level of organization, or what's the similarity, or what level of organization do they possess? You know that these all possess the level the level of complexity we call what level of organization we call organism. Do you understand? They are the organism level. You will not say that they are the cell level now. No. Neither will you say that they are the tissue or organ level. No. If you say that, you will be what wrong. So at this level, the picture we have here tells you that they are the what complex level we call organism. So let's go to another aspect of this topic we talk about, which you call the advantages and disadvantages of complexity in living organisms. What are their